Good afternoon, everyone. 大家好，我叫亨师. My name is Heng Shi. Welcome to our sutra lecture, our talks on the picture biography of Master Empty Cloud. Glad you're with us. We're going to first do the Dharma request, and today our Dharma requester is Zhang Man from Anhui province. So I'm going to ring the bell 3 times and invite you to join me to make 3 half bows right from where you're sitting, and we'll get underway. All right, here we go. Yi Wen Xin, first bow. Zai Wen Xin, second bow. San Wen Xin. How the 张曼曼居士，你愿意请法？你现在可以开始。
恭请大德收听，为此法会及一切众生，千转妙法轮，教导我们如何了生脱死。离苦得乐，速证无生。Will the Sangha with great virtue, utter compassion, for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach us how to live suffering and attain bliss and unborn and death, and quickly realize number.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Namo sadanto suchedoye alahadi sanmyao samputoshye.
Namo sadanto suchedoye alahadi sanmyao samputoshye.
无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered even in billions of eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. 好的。阿弥陀佛，张曼曼居士，感恩。Okay, appreciate the Dharma request. Today is Saturday, the 6th of December, here in the Gold Coast of Queensland. It's Friday afternoon back in California, and it is 12:30 noon here in Australia. It's still 10:30 in the morning back in China, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia. Glad you're here with us to continue our investigation of wonderful stories starring our grand teacher, Master Empty Cloud. So we'll continue underway with our opening protocols here. We would like to respectfully acknowledge the Kombu-Meri people of the Ugambi language region as traditional storytellers and custodians of the land where our monastery is located. We pay our respects to their elders past, present, and emerging, and to all First Nations people whose sovereignty was never ceded. 就说我们恭敬地承认于冈贝语族的孔布玛丽人，他们是我们寺院这个楞严圣寺所在地的传统虚学者和守护人。我们向过去、现在和未来的长者们致敬，并且向所有从来没放弃主权的第一民族的原住民致敬。Okay, on the preparations for explaining Dharma, we have a bell song. It's a traditional way of bringing all of us to a focus. And they say that the sound of the bell also penetrates through to the realms where beings are suffering. So we want to be sincere. If that is the case, we want to certainly let it happen. Here we go. The bell sound wide resounds throughout 100 million worlds. The Buddha's law is heard and spread all throughout the triple world. The wondrous sounds that everywhere fill the Dharma realm with peace. May those who hear it gain the strength to follow in faith the Buddha's path. 众生传3000界内，佛法扬万里国中，共训其法界和平，利益报贪恶后德。Here we go. All right. Well, right there on our screen we have the subject of these stories. This is Master Empty Cloud. My control panel cuts off a bit of his head there, meaning no disrespect. That's just the shape of these things. We have friends joining us, a large group today, because Avatamsaka Monastery here at GCDR is concluding a 7-day Amitabha session today. And some of our friends here with me in the library at GCDR will be leaving a little bit early to get back to the Buddha Hall to finish up their days of devotion, their focus on the Buddha Amitabha and his vows. So this place has been sending out bright light into the universe for a week. And others who have joined online, our fearless coordinator, Chan Yu, is here. Gratitude to her and to our translator, Cliff, and also our Vietnamese translators who are sending my English words out to a Vietnamese listening community. I really appreciate that. Yi Huan is here at CTUB. We know that Zhang Man was in Anhui. Let's see, Alec is back in Singapore. We have friends from Malaysia and Talmadge and Sydney, Cascade, Colorado, Campbell, California. Let's see here. I don't know where Ben Brose is. He's listening in. That's what counts. He's in cyberspace. Hong Kong. Celeste is back in Hong Kong. Let's see here. Santa Clara, Heilongjiang, Montreal, Oklahoma, Taipei, Ukiah. Let's see. Australia. Wherever Huali is, maybe Seattle. Oregon. Let's see. Alameda. Northern California, Los Altos, Malaysia, Calgary, Waterloo, Ontario. Lots of Canadians today. Glad you're here. San Rafael, New York City, Chinatown, Los Angeles, Alameda, Manila, the Philippines. Nini, nice to see you back. Mesa, Arizona, Elk Grove, California, Oklahoma, oh boy, Ukiah, yep, Virginia, Sydney, Malaysia, Harbin. Now we switch over to the other side of the planet. And we have many, many provinces in China represented. The great majority seem to come from the northeast. So we have Shandong, let's see here, 还有 Shandong, 还有西安, okay, 广州, 浙江, 陕西, 吉林, 安徽, 包头, 内蒙古, 黑龙江, 北京, 北京, 哈尔滨, 珠海, Harbin, 阿弥陀佛，那是什么地方？哦，中极乐世界，哇，难得了，有 WiFi 呀、你看，真的，新城在临吧，黑龙江、洛阳 and 苏州。Okay, glad everybody's here. Welcome. Let's see here. Now, if you are listening and would like to listen in Vietnamese, go to the chat box. There is a link where you can hear my English words in Vietnamese. Find it right there in the chat box. Also, if you would like to be the Dharma requester in a future lecture, there is a link and you can send an email to our fearless coordinator, Chun Yu. She will set you up to request Dharma. If you can only do one language, we will arrange to fill in the second language. Okay, good stuff. All right, now for those of you who are unaware of what's happening in this series, our teacher created a set of 2 books commemorating the events of the life of Master Empty Cloud. He lived to be 120, and so there's a lot of stories to tell. Master Hua selected 200 of the events in this eventful life and commissioned an artist to illustrate each of those stories. Then Shifu went on not only to put the events of the story into a very elegant Baihua one, but then he also wrote a 4-line verse to summarize the Dharma principle in each of the stories. So our picture biography includes the anecdote from the life, a picture illustrating it, charming line drawings, and then a poem summarizing it. And we have been going through year by year, story by story, and sharing the life of our grand teacher. Incredible stories. And because we have the internet, I've been able to go on and locate the geographical places where these things are happening, showing maps, showing photos of various monasteries and places. So this is, it's the picture biography plus, so to speak. But the heart of it is incredible stories of an inspiring Buddhist teacher. Some people say the most significant Buddhist monk in the last several hundred years, certainly. So, picking right up from where we left off last time, here we are. Here's our story. The year is 1912. For China, this is an incredibly eventful, significant set of years. This is the end of the imperial dynasty system, the beginning of the Republic of China, Dr. Sun Yat-sen, and all that that represents. Master Empty Cloud is 73 years old. Notice, what is this? We've had the name of the dynasties. Look at this. Zhonghua Minguo Yuan Nian. First year of the Chinese Republic, Republic of China. The title is Ba Ge Niao, Nian Mi Tuo, liberating a myna bird that recited the name of the Buddha. Okay, interested? Let's see. Here we go. You can read with me if you care to. Watch the punctuation. I will stop for the commas and the periods. Here we go. Ready? 人子73岁，公会殿后，即开办佛教分会，在文昌宫开成立大会，请了真师设分会于贵州，藏喇嘛来者甚众。拟举办佛教学校、布道团、医院等慈善事业，有一人诵医八歌鸟放生，能言出食肉，皈依学念佛，吃素，一日背应卓居。Okay, my goodness, lots of stuff. Ready? In 1912, the master was 73 years old. He returned to Yunnan province and set up branches of branches of the Buddhist Association. He convened a large meeting at Wenchang Hall and asked Dharma Master Liao Chen, ending the dust, to establish a branch in Guizhou province. A large group of Tibetan lamas took part, and they decided to organize Buddhist schools, groups for spreading the Dharma, and hospitals, among other philanthropic projects. Someone donated a talking myna bird, intending to set it free. At first, the bird ate meat, But after receiving the refuges, it learned to recite the Buddha's name and became a vegetarian. One day, it was seized by an eagle and carried off. All right. So, lots of variety of activities in this episode. Now, as we said before, Shifu is limited, Master Hua is limited in the amount of information he can put into the space, the limited space for each episode, because he's got to put in the story in 2 languages, the picture, and then the poem. So these stories wind up being very terse, very terse. We only get a sentence or 2 that refer to to a lot of activity behind it. Now, what other resource do we have? We have what is known as the Nianpu, and the Nianpu is Master Empty Cloud's own autobiography, what he said about his own life. And it tends to be a bit more full, not much. He was extremely terse talking about his own life. So Master Hua was just following his teacher's example. But luckily, we have the Nianpu along with it. So after we look at the condensed version, when there's more material in the Nianpu, we go back and supplement. It's sort of the effect of taking a black and white photograph and adding color, making it a color photograph. That's the effect of touching on the Nianpu. Okay, so take a look. 1912, the Republic was 1911. Lots of turmoil, lots of conflict, getting the Republic of China up on its feet. He's 73 years old. And when you live to be 120, that's 2/3, right? So he convened a large meeting at Wenchang Hall and asked a monk, Liao Chen Fa Shi, to establish a branch in Guizhou. What is Master Empty Cloud doing? He is setting up the Fojiao Xiehui. Fojiao Xiehui. What is the Fojiao Xiehui? It's a governing body that establishes standards for Buddhists. Before, there wasn't one. There wasn't a Fojiao Xiehui. So if you were a Buddhist in Shanghai, you didn't necessarily have any connection with a Buddhist in Chengdu. If you were a Buddhist in Wuchang, it's not for sure that you would have anything to do with a Buddhist in Guangzhou. So now they brought the entire Buddhist community, Sangha and laity, together under one governing body. And notice it specifies that a large group of Tibetan lamas came, wanting to be included. So one of the real glories of the Fojiao Xiehui in China, and there is also a Fojiao Xiehui in Taiwan, one of the bright moments was that they included Theravada and Mahayana together. So from the time of the Buddha, this is one of the few examples of Buddhist Sangha coming together, repairing the split that happened even just a decade after the Buddha entered Nirvana. So last November, 1 year ago, I was in China for the Buddhist Association of China's global forum, and 这个世界佛教论坛, and had a chance to go to the Zhejiang Foshuyan, the Buddhist Academy in Zhejiang. They have a history floor on one of their large modern buildings, and the photos from this meeting were widely displayed, beautifully displayed. I got to see, even before I knew of Master Empty Cloud's participation, I got to see these lamas. I got to see Master Liao Chen and the monks that were mentioned in the previous episode, last week's episode. So this event really happened, and it is the fact that the Fojiao Xiehui is going strong right now and has a lot to say about how things are done in the Sangha in China. Now, we have to acknowledge that it also goes the other way. The government of China uses the Forjiao Xiehui to send its information out to the Sangha. The Sangha itself uses the harmony of the Forjiao Xiehui, this unity, to do events, to represent Buddhism in other places where Buddhists gather, the World Fellowship of Buddhists. And last year, when we had the three-country forum, the Zhong, Ao, Xin, the China, Australia, New Zealand Buddhist Forum down in Sydney, it was the Forjiao Xiehui that organized that. So this organization that he set up survived. It sustained itself. And the lamas took part, schools they organized, the hospitals, etc., still going strong. So the only reason we don't know more about this is because after 1949, there wasn't a lot of news that came out of China. And then after the Cultural Revolution, there was lots of turmoil. But this institution that Master Empty Cloud was central in organizing, still going strong, and stronger than ever, I might add. Okay? All right, that's the first half of this story. The second half of the story is what catches everybody's attention, because somebody donated a talking myna bird, and they were trying to fang sheng. So the bird, this episode is well documented. It really happened this way. So the bird was what? He was a meat eater. Myna birds they eat fruit, but they also eat meat and insects, lots of insects. And he was an ordinary bird. He could already talk. He was a talking bird. But then somebody said, okay, let's take it to the monastery in Fangsheng. So after the bird met Master Empty Cloud, what did it do? Right? That's a pretty good imitation, by the way. So now, am I a talking bird? No, I can only speak human language. But so the bird started to recite the Buddha's name, and furthermore, it stopped eating meat. It became a vegetarian, honestly did. And they let it go, and it refused to fly away. It stayed in the monastery, and it took a tree. It really liked a certain tree, and it sat in a tree all day long, supervised the monks, said Amitofo, gave them advice, and complained about things the way birds, very happy bird. And then one day, it says a ying. It doesn't specify what kind of ying, but a ying, it could have been a hawk. It could have been an eagle owl known as a bubo. They are very large. They are definitely carnivorous. Grabbed the bird and took it off. And the people who were paying attention said, as the bird was carried away, they could still hear Amitofo, Amitofo. That's the story. Here's the picture. Okay, you have to see, here's the hawk, and he's got the poor myna bird somewhere here. It's a little dark, but he's saying Amitofo as he is being carried away by a raptor, right? Plucked out of the tree where it was happily reciting the Buddha's name. And of course, monks, any aspect of nature that reflects their cultivation, they're delighted. The monks loved this bird because every day they'd go up and talk to it, and it would say, Amitofo, right? So sadly, when it was carried away, they lost their bird, but they say the bird continued to recite the Buddha's name. How interesting, how interesting. Now, the people who know my habits around here are going, how you doing, Heng Shi? How many of your cockatoos can say Amitabha? What's wrong, Heng Shi? How come they can't say Amitofo yet? So we're working on it. We're working on it, right? So we'll see. Kookaburras, I don't know if we have any hope. They laugh too much. But anyway, birds their Buddha nature can emerge. Let's look at the poem. We ready? 飞至空中仍念佛，尽此报身生极乐。 无为万物之灵者，人不如鸟恋娑婆. Beautiful poem, as all these poems are so good, right? The rhyme scheme, 佛乐者婆, right? Flying off to space, still recite Buddha. To the end of this reward body, in this case in feathers, when this body ends, born in the Pure Land, born in extreme ultimate happiness. Who would say that we humans are said to be the most efficacious, the most conscious of all 10,000 creatures, and yet humans are not even up to birds. We are attached emotionally to the Saha world, right? You get this. So how strange that we humans who are said to be so capable, still the bird is a better cultivator than we are. Carried off, flying through the air, it still recited the Buddha's name. At the end of this lifetime, reborn in ultimate bliss. If people are the most spiritual beings among the universe of creatures, we choose to linger on in the Saha world, how can we compare to this bird? Good poem. All right. Now, we're going to refer now, we're going to turn, I'm going to sneeze again, excuse me. We're going to go to the Nian Pu. This is the, here we go. This is the autobiography written by Master Empty Cloud. So I went back to Yunnan. He's traveling from Beijing to Yunnan. Kaiban, and I began started the Buddhist Association. 在文昌宫 in this place, Yongli, it's a temple of one of the previous emperors, Kai Cheng Li Da Hui. We had a big meeting. We had the first plenary meeting of the Yunnan Buddhist Association, which is where he's located now. Qing Liao Cheng 在贵州. I asked Master Liao Chen in Guizhou to set up a corresponding. Guizhou is the next province. Shizang Huofo Lama, okay, the Tibetan living Buddha lamas, Yuan Dao Lai Zhe Shen Zhong, a lot came from very far to attend. So just from that, you can see how necessary, how much the Buddhists wanted some governing body to make things go smoothly, because there wasn't one, right? 你举办佛教校院. And they proposed that we create a Buddhist academy for training young monks. 佛教学校. We want a Buddhist school. 布道团. We also wanted philanthropic organizations to do good deeds. 即医院等慈善事业 and hospitals, all the other kinds of charity organizations. Okay. 4年在天藏佛教会中. Okay, he says, now among the Tibetan community, there was a small matter, which is 有一小意识, something that was unusual. There's something unusual happened, he says. 有商人送, a country person, a farmer, a local, sent a 八哥鸟, a myna bird, 来放生, to set it free, to liberate life, right? 以能言, it could already talk. It was already able to say, to imitate human speech. 出上食肉. At first, it was still a carnivore, it still ate meat, but we gave it the refuges. It took refuge. 教他念佛 and taught it to say 阿弥陀佛. 既不吃荤, at that point, it stopped eating meat. Okay, you have to either trust him or you don't. He has no reason to stretch a story. The bird stopped eating meat. Shen Shan, and all of his goodness, the goodness inherent in his nature came out. 此之出入, it knew that as soon as the day dawned, 日常念佛，即观音菩萨圣号不少见, it would recite the Buddha's name and the name of Guanyin Bodhisattva without stopping. 一日, one day, 不被鹰捉住, a raptor flew down and grabbed it. 飞在空中, took him off into the air, 只闻佛声. All we heard was the sound of the Buddha's name. Right? So how compelling an image is that? As the myna bird is being carried off, it's not squawking, it's just reciting the Buddha's name. Although it's an animal, it's not even our species, to the very end, at the limits of birth and death, it didn't stop reciting the Buddha's name. How come we humans can't even, we're not up to the level of the birds? Okay, this year I went to Kunming to pass the end of the year over the winter. Okay, what have we got? A myna bird. There's a myna bird. Turns out there are many species of myna birds. Not all of them can imitate human language, but they are endemic in India and Southeast Asia. Australia has lots of myna bird species. The ones called hill, Hill, hill mynas are the ones, particular ones that can speak. How do they sound? Well, you have to kind of stretch it a little bit to say that it's really human speech. You have to listen a lot.
Hello. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hello.
So you kind of get it. It's there are other clips of myna birds, and it's not really they don't have Oxfordian elocution, but they're.
Hello. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hello.
All right. So the bird that wound up being liberated clearly had some deep affinities with Master Empty Cloud and with the monastery. The fact that they let it out of its cage and it didn't fly away, it just found a tree where it could be close to the monks. And of course, this is the monks. There's going to be half a dozen underneath the tree saying, Amitofo, come on, say it, Amitofo. And it did. It heard, and it was happy. And then Master Empty Cloud says it was Guanyin as well. So there you go. That's a story. Now, because we have the Nianpu, we have a couple other stories that I want to, this is called Fuji. These stories did not make it into the picture biography, so all we have is the text. But there are two particular stories that I want everybody to hear. Today, it's a Saturday here in the Gold Coast. It's a Friday afternoon in California. These stories take us to a place that goes beyond time and space and makes us glad that we have the Buddha's wisdom and the Buddha's compassion to guide us. Here we go. Cliff, could I ask you to do the reading? This first story, then on the later ones, it'll save us time and people ears won't get tired listening to me read.
于在云南昆明办佛教会时，西峨全县于正月初二夜12时发生剧烈地震，城舍房屋一时倒塌，死人甚多。官方与佛教会协同救护，余役随去，持工具至各处掘土挖尸。经5日，共出尸体大小800余具，内有夫妇同素之双尸84对，及其者有夫妇2人压瓦勒土中，历数日而毫未损伤，为救活亦也。
Okay. So the Buddhist Association was just established when, typical for Sichuan and Yunnan, earthquake, big earthquake. While I was organizing the Buddhist Association in Kunming, Yunnan, a violent earthquake struck Sichuan County at midnight, second day of the first lunar month. City buildings and houses collapsed all at once. Many people were killed. The government and the Buddhist Association cooperated in the rescue effort. I also went along carrying tools to various sites, digging through earth, recovering bodies. Over the course of 5 days, we unearthed more than 800 corpses, both large and small. Among them were 84 pairs of husbands and wives who had died lying together in bed. Most extraordinary was one case. A married couple had been buried beneath the rubble and earth for several days, yet they were completely uninjured and were rescued alive. This too was remarkable. Okay, now this is not, on one hand, does it illustrate anything about Master Empty Cloud? Yes, it does. The fact that he, in a case of a natural disaster like this, his hands on one end of a shovel digging people out of the ground are equally valuable, and he does not shirk. This is the kind of thing where he would do the work of 3 other monks because he was extremely strong, and that's the way he did it. That's the way he, Wei Ren, right? That's the way he presented himself as a person, was in service to living beings. In many different ways. So this is 现身说法, right? He's appearing, manifesting the Dharma in his own person. He's speaking the Dharma with his own body. What Dharma? Compassion. Compassion. Major earthquake. It happens out in the southwest of China. It happens in Northern California, I might add. And what does he do in that situation? He gets a shovel and starts to dig people out. That's the tie-in to our series of stories. Now, remarkable kind of miraculous event, that also is worth telling. But more importantly, I think, is the behavior of the dignified, abbot of the monastery, Master Empty Cloud. What's he doing? He's covered in dirt, digging people out of collapsed buildings. That's the message here. Okay, that's one story. Another story. Cliff? 逝者昌进。
川人，清宣统2年来祝圣寺求戒，根性慧力，参学监禁。民3年春戒期，请当引赞，时沙弥头真境，请上堂设斋。借长度银48元，受戒后回去，竟置之度外，所知亦复应。
The attendant, meaning Master Empty Cloud's attendant, Cheng Jing, was a native of Tongchuan in Sichuan, came to Zhusheng Monastery, where Master Empty Cloud was the abbot, in the 2nd year of the Shentong reign. This was a few years earlier, to request full precepts. He was sharp-witted, diligent, progressing in both meditation and study. During the spring precept session in the 3rd year of the Republic, this would be 1914, he was asked to serve as Yinzan, the companion to the Weino Shi, the ceremony master. At that time, another monk, novice Zhenjing, requested to offer a meal to the assembly He wanted to create merit. So he went to the monastery and borrowed money, $48, to pay for the food to make an offering. So the monastery loaned him money so he could do some gongda. After receiving the precepts, he returned home and didn't address the loan. When the debt was requested, he didn't respond. Okay, so far so good. We're getting the story. So there's a story of two monks. Chengjing, Master Empty Cloud's attendant, and then a random other monk in the monastery named Zhenjing. Okay, next story, next part of the story, next chapter. Cliff?
一日来，祝圣寺某师来取款，以偿付，并付来收据，盖有长度之章。诚敬见之，心疑，细查图章，果系伪造，荒见长度，愤欲追究，于劝止之。
Okay, so what happened next? A letter came to the monastery saying there is a monk at Zhusheng Monastery who came to collect money from me. I have paid it. The debt's been paid off. A receipt was enclosed bearing what appeared to be the seal of the monastery, meaning, yes, we have received the debt money, it's over. When Chengjing, the attendant, saw it, he was suspicious. He looked at the seal and discovered it was forged. It was an attempt to deceive the monastery. As the bookkeeper or the treasurer, in anger, he wanted to pursue the matter legally, but I said, let it go. Okay, check this out. People who have not done business in China don't know about the tuzhang, about the chop, that when you go to the bank, when you do financial, many people traditionally would have their own personal chop that only they own. And they would also carry a little bit of red ink, 涂沙. So they would put the seal in the ink, put it down on the receipt, and only that's guaranteed, that's from them. Now, Master Chengjing, the attendant to Master Empty Cloud, saw the receipt with the seal of the monastery and said, that doesn't look right. He checked it out. Sure enough, it's a forgery. It's an attempt to deceive the monastery and get away with forgery, with the lying, get away with not paying the debt back. Okay, Cliff, 月年。
月年时力大作，山下村人死者过半，全寺染病者待变，病死数人，诚敬亦病继，变身染于取新兰布挂布套，命为其沐浴更衣，菩提归塔。
Okay, the other part of the previous one that I want to point out is Master Empty Cloud saying, forget it. Notice that, that's key. Empty Cloud doesn't want to let the karma get complicated. It's the individual, he'll rusha yin, rusha go. As you create this, as you plant the seeds, that's how you get the results, right? So he's just like, let it go, don't pursue it, don't complicate it. The following year, a severe epidemic broke out. In the villages at the foot of the mountain, more than half the people died. Nearly everyone in the monastery fell ill as well, and several died. The attendant, the one who was pursuing the debt snafu, also became gravely ill and passed away, his whole body soiled. When you hear 变身染污, probably it was dysentery. Dysentery is when you had diarrhea and it can't stop it. That's my guess is. Dysentery usually is a waterborne illness. So probably somebody polluted a well. Everybody who drank the water got sick. Master Empty Cloud says, I took a new set of blue cloth robes, jacket and trousers, and instructed that the monks wash the body of his attendant, Chengjing, put the new blue clothes on him, and get him ready for the funeral. He was cremated and his ashes enshrined in the stupa. Okay, everybody following? So Empty Cloud said, wash him, put some clean clothes, we'll send him off the way you do, when monks die. Okay, so far so good. Cliff?
民5年，祝圣寺春戒期，真境忽来，余力不究以往，妾请当发引礼。是日敬比丘坛毕，余回师未久，召客来报云：发引礼师忽暴死。余驱使见其卧地，口吐白沫，众为之念佛，何其忽大呼曰：快拿钱来还常住。余曰：真境何事？曰：诚敬引赞师向我所钱，问几人？曰：一老师傅着破难。据详叙其状，是上课堂某师。问何以为凭？曰：引赞师身着青蓝布衣裤。
Okay, see how many people are following the Chinese. I don't know. In the 5th year of the Republic, during the spring precept session at Zhushangsi, so a bit of time passed, Zhen Jing suddenly appeared. Who is Zhen Jing? Zhen Jing is the one who borrowed the money and then cheated, didn't pay it back. I did not pursue past grievances. That's key. Empty Cloud could have said, hey, you owe the monastery. Aren't you afraid of cause and effect? No. 我一不就一往, right? He just let it go, let the karma work itself out. Furthermore, I invited him to serve as one of the 8 ceremonial chanters for the precept ordination. That's an important role. So look at how Master Empty Cloud responds. That very day, after the Bhikshu ordination platform concluded, I went back to my room. Somebody from the guest hall came running and said, number 8 chant master just died. I ran over. I saw him lying on the ground, white foam coming from his mouth. The assembly was reciting Namo Amitabha on his behalf. Suddenly, the monk who was dying or thought that was dead cries out, quick, bring the money. I have to repay the monastery. His karmic obstacle. I said, Zhenjing, what are you doing? He said, chant leader Cheng Jing, the previous attendant who died of illness, is demanding the money from me. I asked, how many people is there? He said, just one old monk wearing a torn, patched robe. From his detailed description, it was a monk from the upper guest hall. I said, what proof do you have that it was him? He replied, he's wearing new blue clothes. The monk from the upper guest hall was the one who would have the books to know that the chop was fake and that the receipt was fake. So you can't escape offenses, right? So everybody follow what's going on here, right? So the cheater came to do suddenly showed up. Master Empty Cloud gave him a job to do. He's one of the monks holding the ceremony, ring the bells, Moho Shan Xing Ding Ding. That's the job. And suddenly he dies. And everyone's like, wow, panicking. And there he is on the floor, white foam coming out of his mouth. Master Empty Cloud says, what's going on? The dead man speaks. He says, quick, bring the money. I got to repay my debt. And I said, what's going on? He says, Cheng Jing, who accused me of forgery, of cheating on my debt, came to me, even though he's been dead for months, and told me I owed the money. I said, who was it? He said it was an old monk with a torn patch robe, which is what Cheng Jing wore because he was a monk in the upper guest hall. I said, how do you know it was him? He said he was wearing new blue clothing, which is what Master Empty Cloud gave him before his cremation. Okay, last chapter in this incredible story. Cliff, you ready?
劝成定曰：你放下来，个人因果个人当，真正悬烧轻行，致是疯癫失常，并莫能容。一日为其表藏曰：某病因果不明，诚敬好心保障，反为常住不安。今当众发露，了结一众公案。当时真境忽病愈，起单而去。 成敬义后由耿耿为功，因果分明，亦可加判矣。
Okay. I then urged Chengjing, talking to his ghost, said, "Let this go. Everybody bears the karma of their own action." Chengjing, who was there, foam coming out of his mouth, gradually regained consciousness, but afterwards he went crazy and his illness didn't get better. One day, on his behalf, I told the assembly, the reason this person is sick is his Zhangmu, his accounts are not clear, karmic causes. Chengjing, my attendant who died out of good intention to get the money back, but he went on to create disturbance within the monastery. Good intention, but bad result. Now, before everybody, I reveal the matter, case closed once and for all. At that moment, Chengjing, who had died there with foam coming out of his mouth, recovered from his illness, got up from his sick bed, and left. Even after his death, Chengjing remained earnestly devoted to protecting the monastery. His sense of justice and the clear working of karmic cause and effect are indeed admirable. So, these are two stories, the earthquake and then the debt repayment, with a ghost coming to claim to clear the accounts. These were appended to the picture biography, Nianpu autobiography. All right, good stuff. Now, many folks have to leave for the conclusion, the last session of the Amitabha sessions. Please do make your way back to the Buddha Hall. And we are going to dedicate merit. Those of you who don't have to go quite so soon can join me in dedicating merit. Now, next week, I will be in Taiwan doing the events where, if everybody can not talk, please, that would help. Thank you. Going to be dedicating, what do they say, Kaiguang, inaugurating a brand new branch of the association in Taichung, Taiwan. A lot of our community will be gathered in Taichung this time next week. So we're going to take a break from our regular weekly investigation of the picture biography. But the following week, I will be back, and then we will go through the Christmas holidays. We'll go through Lunar New Year's and on into the spring. Looking forward to being with all of you then. Are we ready to dedicate merit? Here we go. Please make a wish. Here we be, our minds as wandering, we light, share the fruits of peace, with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If we only can see, our hands and hearts can find in giving unity. May our minds away to bring compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light dispel the darkness of their endless night. Because our hearts are one, this love turns into paradise. May all become compassion and one. 没有一颗更跟谁安？没有一颗更跟谁安慰？ And before we go, we can do 3 bows to Guanyin Bodhisattva. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. Okay, that's going to do it for us for today. See you all in 2 weeks. Amitofo. Bye now, everybody. Tofo.